Hey there, Marshall here. Today I'm taking you back to the future, to a time when the world was abuzz with talk of forward-thinking inventions. The 1980s. Technology was on the verge of breaking through, and the decade gave us some of the greatest technological advancements, some of which are still relevant today. But along with great successes come tremendous failures. Let's take a look at the best of the worst. Apple Lisa. One such invention was the Apple Lisa, a marvel of its time, though it ultimately met a rather untimely demise. You see, in those days, Apple was riding high on the success of its groundbreaking Apple II series of computers, but they had their eyes set on something even grander, a computer that would revolutionize the way we interact with machines. And so in 1983, Apple introduced the Lisa, which stood for Local Integrated Software Architecture. Now, the Lisa was a beast of a machine boasting a whopping 5 MHz 68,000 microprocessor and a staggering 1 MB of RAM. It was like having a supercomputer on your desk, but what truly set it apart from the competition was its graphical user interface, or the GUI. You see, back then, most computers were text-based, and the Lisa's GUI allowed users to interact with icons and windows using a mouse. My apologies for nerding out on you, but Apple's visionary co-founder, who you might have heard before, Steve Jobs, had a dream of bringing computing power to the masses in a user-friendly way. He envisioned the Lisa as a machine that regular folks, not just tech wizards, could use. It was a noble goal indeed, but despite its groundbreaking technology and grand vision, the Apple Lisa flopped, and it flopped hard. There are a few reasons for this unfortunate outcome. First and foremost, the Lisa came with a staggering price tag, costing a whopping $9,995 upon its release. Adjusted for inflation, that's over $25,000 today. This made it prohibitively expensive for the average customer. People simply couldn't justify spending that much money on a personal computer, no matter how revolutionary it was. Plus, the Lisa had some technical limitations. Since its lack of expansion slots, which meant users couldn't easily upgrade it, its software library was also limited compared to other more affordable computers of the time. Kodak Atom. Of course, who can forget the Kodak Atom, a fascinating but ultimately ill-fated venture into the world of personal computing. In the 1980s, personal computers were becoming all the rage, and the Coleco company, known for its success in the world of video games and toys, wanted to jump into the burgeoning home computer market. And so in 1983, they introduced the Kodak Atom, an all-in-one computer system that aimed to offer more than just computing power. The Kodak Atom was a unique beast, my friends. It included a full-size keyboard, a built-in cassette tape drive, and a daisy wheel printer, all integrated into one sleek unit. The idea was to provide a comprehensive computing experience in a single package, making it accessible to families and individuals alike. Coleco believed that the future of personal computing was not just about word processing and spreadsheets, but also about entertainment and education. They wanted the Atom to serve both as a productivity tool and a gaming console, all rolled into one. Yet despite its ambitious vision, the Coleco Atom encountered plenty of challenges that contributed to its downfall. One of them was quality control issues. The early units were plagued by manufacturing problems, leading to a high failure rate. Many customers experienced hardware malfunctions and technical glitches, which led to frustration and disappointment. Additionally, the Atom was released prematurely, with incomplete software and a lack of developer support. This meant that there was a shortage of compelling software titles for the system, limiting its appeal to potential buyers. Furthermore, the Coleco Atom was relatively expensive, especially when compared to other home computers of the era. This made it a less attractive option for budget-conscious consumers. But perhaps the most significant blow to the Coleco Atom's prospects was the video game crash of 1983, which impacted the entire gaming industry, including Coleco's gaming division. This financial setback hindered their ability to support and promote the Atom effectively. PXL 2000. The PXL 2000 was a product of its time, a time when camcorders and home video recording were all the rage. But Fisher-Price, the renowned toy manufacturer, had a different vision. They wanted to create a portable video camera for kids, something that could capture the imagination of young filmmakers and encourage their creativity. And so in 1987, the Fisher-Price PXL 2000 was born. This unusual device recorded video onto audio cassettes. Can you believe it? It had a low-resolution black and white video sensor and a built-in microphone, all packed into a chunky plastic shell that looked like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Now, you might be wondering why it was made in the first place. Well, Fisher-Price believed that kids should have a tool to explore their creative sides, to make their own movies and express themselves through video. The PXL 2000 was intended to be an affordable and user-friendly way for children to become mini Spielbergs or Kubricks. But the PXL 2000 had some glaring issues, one of which was the abysmal video quality even by 1980s standards. The black and white footage it produced was grainy, distorted, and had a distinctive pixelated look. It was far from the high-quality recordings that were becoming increasingly common. On top of that, the PXL 2000 was limited by the use of audio cassette tapes for recording. These tapes had a very limited capacity, which meant that users could only record short video clips. Additionally, the process of transferring the recorded footage to a TV or computer was cumbersome, and the resulting quality left much to be desired. Finally, the timing wasn't quite right for the PXL 2000. By the late 1980s, the market was shifting towards more advanced and capable video recording technologies like VHS camcorders. The PXL 2000 just couldn't compete in terms of quality and convenience. So in the end, while the Fisher-Price PXL 2000 was an ambitious and imaginative attempt to introduce kids to the world of filmmaking, it fell short due to its technical limitations and the evolving landscape of video technology. Hey, are you enjoying the video so far? If you are, feel free to give us a like on whichever device you're using. Thankfully, that did not flop, unlike our next one, brought to you by a company you wouldn't have thought capable of flopping around that time. Kodak Disc 4000. In the early 1980s, Kodak, the photography giant, was riding high on its success with traditional film cameras and had a vision to bring photography to the masses in a more accessible and convenient form. They believed that people wanted a simple point-and-shoot camera that didn't require the fuss of loading film rolls or setting exposure settings. And so in 1982, the Kodak Disc 4000 was introduced to the world. It was a compact disc-shaped camera that used a proprietary film format known as the disc film. The camera was designed to be incredibly user-friendly with automatic exposure and flash settings, making it accessible to even the most inexperienced photographers. Now, you might wonder why it was made in the first place. Well, Kodak believed that the disc format would be the future of photography. They saw it as a way to simplify the picture-taking process, making it a more approachable for everyday people who just wanted to capture memories without dealing with the complexities of traditional film cameras. So what was wrong with it? Well, first was the image quality. The disc film format was severely limited in terms of image resolution, resulting in photographs that were grainy and lacked the sharpness and detail of traditional film. This was a significant drawback that disappointed many users who expected better quality from Kodak. Secondly, the proprietary nature of the disc film made it expensive and limited in availability compared to 35mm film, which was widely used at the time. Users had to rely on Kodak for both the camera and the film, which further restricted its appeal. Finally, advancements in traditional film cameras like autofocus and compact 35mm point-and-shoot cameras started to become more accessible and affordable, making the Compact Disc 4000 seem less innovative and attractive in comparison. As a result, despite the initial hype of Kodak's grand vision, the Kodak Disc 4000 failed to gain the widespread popularity that was anticipated. MCA Disco Vision. The home video market was heating up in the 80s thanks to the rise of VHS tapes. MCA, the entertainment conglomerate, wanted a piece of the action and sought to create something that would take-home viewing to the next level, and so in 1978 they introduced the MCA Disco Vision system, which later became known as simply Disco Vision. Now, what was this Disco Vision, you ask? Well, it was essentially an early attempt to create a consumer-friendly optical disc format for movies and other video content. It used a technology called laser vision, which was quite different from the analog VHS tapes that were prevalent at the time. The discs were shiny, reflective, and most importantly, they were supposed to deliver better audio and video quality. MCA had grand ambitions for Disco Vision. They envisioned it as a way for people to enjoy movies in their homes with superior picture and sound quality. They also saw the potential for interactive features such as bonus content and director's commentary, which was ahead of its time. Now, you're probably wondering why it flopped. Well, just like the Apple Lisa, the Disco Vision system was prohibitively expensive. The players themselves were expensive, and the discs, which were fragile and easily scratched, cost a small fortune. This made it a luxury item that few could afford. And the format war of the 1980s was in full swing, with VHS and Betamax competing for dominance. Disco Vision ended up caught in the crossfire, unable to gain a foothold against these established formats. Another issue was the limited library of available titles. While the promise of better quality and interactivity was intriguing, there simply wasn't enough movies and content available in the Disco Vision format to attract consumers. On top of all that, the technology had its quirks and limitations. The discs were prone to skipping and freezing, which frustrated viewers, and the players were delicate and prone to malfunctioning. In the end, despite its early promise and potential, Disco Vision was a victim of its own high costs, limited content library, and competition from other, more affordable and reliable formats like VHS. Seiko TV Watch. The Seiko TV Watch, my dear ones, was exactly what it sounds like, a wristwatch with a built-in television. This was decades before the Apple Watch, so you can imagine our surprise when it came out in 1982. For its time, it was nothing short of revolutionary. The watch had a small black and white cathode ray tube screen and a tiny antenna, all neatly packed into a wristwatch. In the 1980s, there was a growing fascination with the idea of portable electronics and personal entertainment on the go. Seiko, a renowned watchmaker, wanted to push the boundaries of what a wristwatch could do and offer a truly futuristic experience by allowing people to watch television anywhere they went. You could catch the latest news, sports scores, or even your favorite shows right from your wrist. It was a bold and visionary idea that aimed to make science fiction a reality. But cool factor aside, the device was anything but user-friendly. The tiny screen and limited resolution made watching television on such a small device a less than ideal experience. It strained the eyes and was far from the immersive TV watching experience people were used to. Also, the TV watch was quite bulky and heavy, making it uncomfortable to wear for extended periods. Its battery life was also disappointingly short, lasting only a few hours, which limited its usefulness as a portable TV. Given how popular smartwatches are now, I guess it just wasn't made for those times. Timex Sinclair. Timex, also known for its watches, wanted to get in on the computer action. The result was the Timex Sinclair, a series of compact home computers. The Timex Sinclair was a remarkable invention for its time. It was incredibly small and lightweight, with a chiclet keyboard and a simple black and white display. What set it apart, however, was its affordability. Timex and Sinclair Research, the British company behind the design, aimed to create a computer that could be within the reach of ordinary folks. They wanted to make computing accessible to the masses. The Timex Sinclair was part of a wave of early personal computers that sought to bring the power of computing to everyday households. It was seen as a tool for both education and productivity. The idea was that people could use it to learn programming, play games, or perform various tasks like word processing, and calculations. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to escape extinction. The Timex Sinclair was very basic with a tiny amount of memory and a lack of built-in storage. This meant that it couldn't run more complex software, limiting its usefulness. And the chiclet keyboard was notoriously uncomfortable to use, making any kind of serious typing a frustrating experience. The computer's black and white display also lacked graphics capabilities, which put it at a disadvantage compared to other home computers of the time. And there you have it. So which of these failed technological inventions would have done well if they came out today? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.